It started the first night I moved in. The apartment was cheap. Too cheap for where it was. I remember thinking I got lucky. Quiet building, decent space, no loud neighbors. It felt like the kind of place where nothing ever happened. I was wrong. That first night, I was lying in bed, scrolling on my phone, half asleep. The room was dark except for the dim glow of the screen. Everything was silent until I heard it. A faint sound. At first I ignored it. Old buildings always make noise. Pipes, wood, the wind pushing through cracks. But this wasn't random. It was rhythmic. Tap, tap, tap. I froze, staring into the darkness. The sound stopped. I waited, holding my breath, listening for anything. Nothing. Just silence pressing in around me. I exhaled slowly, telling myself it was nothing. Just the building settling. I turned off my phone and closed my eyes. Then it came back. Tap, tap, tap. This time, it was closer. Not inside the walls anymore. Right behind me. My eyes snapped open. My body went completely still. I could feel it. Something was wrong. The air felt heavier, colder, like the room itself had changed. Slowly, I turned on the lamp. The light flooded the room. Nothing. Everything looked normal, but the feeling didn't go away. I got out of bed and walked to the wall behind me, pressing my ear against it. Silence. No pipes, no movement. I stepped back, uneasy, my skin crawling. That's when I heard something else. A whisper. Soft. So quiet, I almost thought I imagined it. I turned my head. It wasn't coming from the wall anymore. It was coming from the closet. The door was slightly open. I was sure I had closed it. I stared at the gap, my heart pounding so hard, I could hear it in my ears. The darkness inside the closet looked deeper than it should have been, like it wasn't just shadows, but something else entirely. Then the whisper came again. Clear this time. It said my name. My breath caught in my throat. Every instinct told me to back away, to leave the room, to pretend I didn't hear it. But I couldn't move. I just stood there, staring at the closet like it was staring back at me. Slowly, I stepped forward. One step, then another. The floor creaked under my weight, echoing too loudly in the silence. I reached the door. My hand trembled as I grabbed the handle. For a moment, I hesitated. Then I pulled it open. The door creaked loudly as it swung wide. Inside, nothing. Just clothes hanging still. Shoes lined up neatly. No movement. No sound. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. But then, I noticed something. On the inside wall of the closet, there were scratches. Dozens of them. Long, uneven lines carved into the paint. Tally marks. Rows and rows of them. Like someone had been counting. Days. Or nights. My stomach dropped as I stepped closer. At the bottom of the wall, beneath all the marks, there were words, scratched deeper than the others. Messy, uneven, almost desperate. It hers you. I stumbled back, my chest tightening. That's when the light flickered. Once, twice, then went out completely. Darkness swallowed the room. And in that darkness, I heard it again. Not tapping this time, not whispering, breathing. Slow, heavy, right next to me. I didn't move. I didn't dare. My entire body went rigid, every muscle locked in place. Because I knew one thing. I wasn't alone in that room anymore. I didn't move. The breathing was still there. Slow, heavy, right beside me in the dark. Every instinct in my body screamed at me to run, but I couldn't. My legs felt frozen, like something was holding me in place. I tried to convince myself it wasn't real, that it was just fear messing with my head. Then it exhaled, right next to my ear. I flinched and stumbled back, hitting the wall. My hand fumbled for my phone, and when I finally turned the flashlight on, the beam shook violently in my grip. The room was empty. No one. Nothing. But the closet door was wide open now. I was sure I hadn't opened it that far. The light flickered again, weaker this time, like it was struggling to stay on. I forced myself to breathe and stepped out of the room, my eyes locked on the closet, half expecting something to step out of it. Nothing did. I spent the rest of the night in the living room with every light turned on. I didn't sleep. Every time the building creaked, I jumped. Every shadow felt alive. Morning didn't make it better. It just made everything clearer. I went back into the bedroom, trying to convince myself I had imagined everything. But the closet wall was still there. The scratches, the message. It hers you. Only now, there was something new. Under the message, another line had been added. I hadn't seen it before. The letters looked fresh. So don't make a sound. My chest tightened. I hadn't written that, and I hadn't heard anyone come in. I grabbed my keys and left the apartment immediately. I spent the entire day outside, walking aimlessly, trying to think of a logical explanation. Maybe the previous tenant had written it. Maybe I just hadn't noticed it before. But deep down, I knew the truth. Something had added that message while I was there. That night, I didn't want to go back, but I had no choice. When I opened the apartment door, the first thing I noticed was the silence. Not normal silence. This was different. Heavy. Pressing. Like the air itself was listening. I stepped inside slowly. Everything looked normal. Too normal. I walked into the living room, then the kitchen. Nothing out of place. Then I heard it. A faint sound. Not tapping this time. Dragging. Something moving across the floor. From the hallway. My throat went dry. I turned toward the sound, every part of me telling me not to look. But I did. The hallway was dark, and at the very end of it, something moved. Not fast. Slow. Deliberate. A shape. Too tall. Too thin. It didn't walk like a person. It stretched. Shifted. Like its body didn't quite fit inside itself. My heart pounded as I stepped back. The thing stopped moving. Then, it tilted its head like it had just noticed me. The silence deepened. And then, it smiled. Not a normal smile. Too wide, too still. And when it spoke, the voice didn't come from its mouth. It came from everywhere. From the walls, from the floor, from inside my head. I can hear you. I ran. I didn't even think. I just ran out of the apartment, slamming the door behind me. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely lock it. I didn't go back that night. I couldn't. But as I stood outside, trying to catch my breath, my phone vibrated. A message. Unknown number. I opened it. There was no text, just a voice note. I hesitated, then pressed play. At first there was silence, then breathing. Slow, heavy, and right before the audio ended, a whisper, right next to the microphone. I'm still inside. I didn't go back that night. I couldn't. I stood outside the building for a long time, staring up at my apartment window, trying to convince myself to move, to leave, to do anything. But my legs wouldn't listen, because deep down, I knew something was wrong. Not just inside the apartment, with me. My phone was still in my hand. The voice note replayed in my mind over and over. I'm still inside. I told myself it was a prank. It had to be. Someone messing with me. Someone who got into my apartment somehow. But that didn't explain the voice, or the thing I saw in the hallway, or the way it moved. I left. I checked into a cheap motel across town. I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw it. That shape, that smile, the way its head tilted like it was studying me. Morning came, but the fear didn't go away. I knew I had to go back. Not because I wanted to, but because something inside me needed to understand, needed to see it again. That thought alone scared me more than anything. When I returned to the apartment, the hallway outside felt different, quieter than usual, like sound itself didn't belong there anymore. I unlocked the door slowly. It creaked open. Darkness, even though it was daytime. I stepped inside. The air felt wrong, thick, heavy, like breathing underwater. "Hello?" I called out. My voice sounded distant, like it didn't belong to me. No answer. I walked further in. Every step echoed too loudly. The walls seemed closer than before, like the apartment had shrunk overnight. Then I saw it. The closet door. Wide open. I was sure I had closed it before I left. Slowly, I approached, each step heavier than the last. The scratches were still there. The message, too. "It hears you. So don't make a sound." But now, there was something new. A third line, deeper than the others, carved into the wall like something had dug it in with force. "It's not in here." My stomach dropped. A cold chill ran through my entire body. If it wasn't in there, then where was it? The light flickered. Once, twice, then went out. Darkness swallowed everything. And then I heard it. Not from the closet, not from the walls, from behind me. Breathing, slow, heavy, right at my neck. I couldn't move. I couldn't even breathe, because I finally understood. The messages weren't warnings. They were instructions. "It hears you. So don't make a sound. It's not in here." Because it never was. It was never trapped in the walls. It was never hiding in the closet. It followed me. From the moment I heard it the first time, it attached itself to me. I felt something brush against my ear. A cold, invisible presence. And then it whispered. Not my name this time. Something worse. "I'm not in the apartment anymore." My phone vibrated in my hand. I don't remember grabbing it. I looked down slowly. A new voice message from my own number. I pressed play. At first, silence. Then, my voice. Soft, terrified, barely a whisper. "It's right behind me." The audio ended. The room went completely silent. And I realized something that made my blood run cold. That recording hadn't been sent just now. It was being recorded. Right at that moment. I didn't buy the mirror. That's the first thing I need to make clear. When I moved into the apartment, it was already there, mounted on the wall across from my bed. Tall, narrow, with a dark wooden frame that looked older than everything else in the room. I remember asking the landlord about it, and he just shrugged, said the previous tenant left it behind. I should have gotten rid of it. The first few nights were normal, quiet, peaceful even. I'd come home, lie in bed, and sometimes catch my reflection staring back at me in the mirror. Nothing strange about that. At least, not at first. Then one night, something felt off. I was brushing my teeth in the bathroom when I heard a faint sound from the bedroom. A soft shift, like fabric moving. I froze, listening. It stopped. I told myself it was nothing and went back to what I was doing. But when I walked back into the bedroom, something was wrong. The mirror. It looked the same. Same frame, same position. But my reflection wasn't moving right. I stepped forward. It stepped forward too. But a second too late. I froze. My reflection froze. We stood there, staring at each other. I slowly raised my hand. It copied me. Perfectly. Too perfectly. I laughed nervously, shaking my head. "You're just tired," I whispered to myself. That's all. I turned away, got into bed, and forced myself to sleep. But something kept bothering me. Right before I closed my eyes, I could have sworn the reflection didn't lie down when I did. The next night it got worse. I tested it, stood in front of the mirror, moved slowly, watching carefully. Everything matched. Perfect timing. No delay, no mistake, until I stopped. I stood completely still, and for a split second, my reflection kept moving, just slightly, like it didn't realize I had stopped. My heart dropped. I stumbled back, staring at it. It stopped too, but something had changed. Its expression. It wasn't mine anymore. It was smiling, just a little, just enough for me to notice. I didn't sleep that night. By the third night, I covered the mirror with a blanket. I couldn't look at it anymore. Didn't want to. But around 3 a.m., I woke up suddenly. No sound. No movement. Just that feeling that something was wrong. I sat up slowly. The room was dark, silent, and then I noticed it. The blanket was on the floor. The mirror was uncovered again. My chest tightened as I looked at it. I didn't want to, but I couldn't stop myself. I looked, and this time, I wasn't in it. The mirror showed my room, my bed, everything exactly as it was, except there was someone standing behind me, tall, still, watching. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. My body locked in place as I stared at the mirror. That figure. It was standing right behind me in the reflection. Tall, still, watching. But I felt nothing behind me. No breathing, no movement, no presence. Slowly, I forced myself to move. I turned around. Nothing. The room was empty. My chest tightened as I turned back to the mirror. The figure was still there, closer now. My heart started pounding. This wasn't a reflection. It was something else, something inside the mirror. I stepped back, and it stepped forward, but not at the same time. It moved after me, like it was learning, copying, practicing. I stumbled away from the mirror, breathing fast. My eyes locked on it, terrified to blink. The thing inside tilted its head, exactly the same way I did earlier, but slower, deliberate. And then it smiled, wide, unnatural, too still. The lights flickered, the room dimmed for a second, and when the light came back, the thing was gone. Only my reflection remained. But something felt wrong. Very wrong. I approached the mirror again, slowly this time. My reflection copied me perfectly. No delay, no mistake. Normal. Too normal. I leaned closer. So did it. Our faces inches apart. And that's when I noticed it. Its eyes. They weren't focused on me. They were looking past me, at something behind me. My breath caught. I didn't want to look, but I had to. Slowly, I turned my head. The room was empty. I turned back to the mirror, and my reflection was gone. The mirror showed the room, the bed, the door, everything, except me. My heart dropped. Then, something moved inside the mirror, from the corner, slow, crawling into view. It was me, but not really. Same face, same body, but wrong. The way it moved, jerky, unnatural, like something wearing me instead of being me. It crawled closer to the glass, then slowly stood up. Now it was facing me directly, outside the mirror. And for the first time, I understood something terrifying. It wasn't trapped inside. It was trying to switch places. The lights flickered again, longer this time. Darkness filled the room for a full second. When the light came back, I saw my reflection again. Perfect, normal, smiling nervously, exactly like me. But I wasn't smiling. I raised my hand, slowly. It didn't move. It just kept smiling, watching me. Then it spoke, without opening its mouth. The voice came from everywhere. Low. Cold. Right inside my head. Almost done. I didn't sleep. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the mirror, waiting for it to move again, waiting for it to slip. But it didn't. It just stood there, reflecting me perfectly. Too perfectly. Every breath, every blink, every tiny movement. Exact. Like it had finally learned everything. Morning came, but the feeling didn't leave. The air still felt heavy, like something had already happened, and I was just catching up to it. I stood up slowly and walked toward the mirror again. My reflection followed. Normal. I raised my hand. It raised its hand. Perfect timing. No delay. No mistake. I let out a shaky breath. Maybe it was over. Maybe whatever this was, it stopped. Then I noticed something small. Something I almost missed. My reflection blinked. I didn't. My stomach dropped. I stepped back instantly. It didn't. It stayed where it was. Still smiling. Still watching me. That's when I understood. It wasn't trying anymore. It had already finished. The lights flickered once, and in that brief second of darkness, everything changed. When the light came back, I was standing in the mirror. I didn't feel it happen. No sound. No movement. Just wrong. Everything felt flat, silent, distant. I looked around. The room was there, but I wasn't in it anymore. I was behind the glass. My hands hit the surface. Hard. No sound. No matter how hard I pounded, nothing. Outside the mirror, it stood there, wearing my face, breathing my breath, living in my place. It tilted its head slightly, the same way I used to. Then it smiled. Not nervous this time. Not unsure. Confident. Like it had been waiting for this. It stepped closer to the mirror, closer to me, and placed its hand against the glass, matching mine perfectly. Then it whispered. Soft. Calm. Final. You took too long. I tried to scream. Nothing came out. No sound. No voice. Just silence. And then it turned away. Walked out of the room. Left me there. Trapped. Watching. Hours passed. Or maybe days, I don't know anymore. Time doesn't feel real here. I can still see everything. The room. The apartment. The life that used to be mine. But I can't touch it. I can't leave. I can't make a sound. And sometimes, late at night, I see it come back into the room. It stands in front of the mirror, staring at me, smiling, making sure I'm still here, still watching. Because now, I'm the reflection, and it's the one living my life. I installed the camera for safety. That's all it was supposed to be. A small security camera facing my apartment door. Motion detection, night vision, live feed on my phone. Nothing special. Just something to make me feel a little less alone at night. I didn't think it would become the reason I couldn't sleep anymore. The first few days were normal. The camera picked up small things. Me leaving, me coming back. Lights turning on and off. Nothing unusual. Until one night, I got a notification. Motion detected. I checked the time. 3:12 a.m. I was already in bed. I frowned and opened the app. The camera showed the hallway outside my apartment. Empty. No movement. I stared at the screen for a few seconds, confused. Maybe it was a glitch. It happens. I closed the app and tried to go back to sleep. Then my phone buzzed again. Motion detected. Same camera. Same time. I opened it again. Still nothing. Just the empty hallway. But this time, something felt wrong. The angle looked slightly off, like the camera had been moved. Just a little. I sat up in bed, fully awake now. I knew I hadn't touched it, and no one else had access. I kept the live feed open, watching closely. Seconds passed. Nothing. Then suddenly, the image flickered for just a moment, and in that moment, I saw something. A figure, standing right in front of my door, too close to the camera. So close I couldn't see its face. The screen went back to normal instantly. Empty hallway, like nothing was ever there. My heart started racing. I stared at the door in real life. Silent. Still. No knocking. No footsteps. Nothing. Slowly, I got out of bed. Step by step, I walked toward the door. My eyes kept shifting between the real door and the one on my phone. Both looked the same. Closed. Quiet. I reached the handle. My hand hovered over it. And then, my phone buzzed again. I looked down. Another notification. But this time, it wasn't motion detection. It was a screenshot, automatically saved by the app. I opened it, and my blood ran cold. The picture showed the hallway, my door, everything normal. Except the door was open, slightly, and something was standing inside my apartment. Watching the camera, I didn't open the door. I couldn't. My hand froze on the handle as I stared at the screenshot on my phone. The door was open in the image, but in front of me, it was still closed, locked, silent. My chest tightened as I slowly stepped back. That didn't make sense. The camera was outside. It couldn't see inside my apartment, unless the door had been open, but it wasn't. It never was. My phone buzzed again. Live feed. I opened it. The hallway was empty. My door was closed. Exactly like in real life. No sign of anything, no movement, nothing. I let out a shaky breath, trying to calm down. "It's a glitch," I whispered. "Just a glitch." Then the screen flickered, and it happened again. For less than a second, the door was open, wide this time, and the camera was inside the apartment, facing me. I dropped the phone. It hit the floor, but the screen stayed on, still streaming, still watching, from inside. My heart pounded as I slowly looked up from the phone, toward the hallway behind me. Dark, silent, empty, or at least it looked empty. I didn't want to turn around fully, because something inside me already knew. It wasn't outside the door. It never was. It had been inside the apartment the whole time, watching, waiting, learning. My phone buzzed again on the floor. Another screenshot. I forced myself to pick it up. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it again. I opened the image, and I felt my stomach drop. The picture showed me, standing there, holding my phone, facing the hallway, exactly as I was. But there was something behind me, closer than before, right over my shoulder. I slowly lifted my head. I could feel it now. Breathing. Cold. Right at the back of my neck. My entire body went still. Because I finally understood. The camera wasn't broken. It wasn't glitching. It was showing the truth. Just a second before it happened. My phone buzzed one last time. Another screenshot. I didn't want to look, but I had to. Slowly, I opened it. In the image, I wasn't holding the phone anymore. It was on the ground. The hallway was empty, and the apartment door was open, wide, like something had just walked out. I raised my hand slowly and touched my face. It felt normal. Everything felt normal. Too normal. That's when I noticed something in the reflection of my phone screen. My expression. I wasn't scared anymore. I was smiling. Wide. Unnatural. Too still. I tried to stop it. I couldn't. My body didn't feel like mine anymore. My hand moved on its own, reaching for the door, opening it, stepping outside. And as I walked into the hallway, my phone slipped from my hand and fell to the floor behind me. The screen stayed on, still recording, still watching, and for a moment, just one moment. The camera inside the apartment caught something standing in the darkness. Not me. Something else. Still inside. Still watching. Waiting for the next person to feel safe.